We welcome you inside Coach Holgorsen's office as the Mountaineers get set to take on the Spartans of Norfolk State coming up on Saturday. Coach, are you one of those coaches who believe that you do improve your most from game one to game two?
Boy, I hope so, especially when it comes to the basic fundamenting of blocking and tackling, which is obviously what you got to focus on, anytime at the beginning of the year, you got to put those guys in those live situations to see who can and who can't, and what kind of technical aspects of those two skills that you got to improve on.
You left no doubt whatsoever during your press conference back on Tuesday that the biggest disappointment for you was the blocking. When you watched the tape, was it effort? Was it a matter of where they should be from an execution standpoint? How did you break down what you didn't like?
It's a combination of a bunch of things. It's one is you got to throw coaching in there too. We got to make sure that we're targeting things right and we get that point across. And which, when it's a new scheme, you're going to run into some hiccups now and then. And then you got to figure out what guys' strengths are and what their weaknesses are and what you got to improve on in practice. And then effort's a thing that's got to take place on every play of every game. So it's a combination of all three, and we just got to get better at all three.
Talk to me a little bit about the logistics of running the sideline. It seemed as though everything went very smoothly. I mean, from a penalty standpoint, you guys only had 2 penalties. You didn't have any turnovers, no substitution errors and things like that that normally can get you in a first game. How did you grade yourself there?
Well, the sidelines were real organized. Everybody was, had a role and was doing their job, and the players were good about getting on and off the field. And first game stuff, not having any of that stuff that you just mentioned, I think would make a lot of people happy.
Yeah. Opponent number 2 here now, Norfolk State. When you start to take a look at them from your standpoint, I know you look at you more than you look at an opposing team. Next progression for your offense, what do you want to see this time?
Just stay the course more than anything. This is a deal where we may not hit full stride until, game 6 or game 7 or, 10 years ago at Texas Tech, we didn't hit stride until year 2. You just don't know what all the keys to the puzzle are. You got to make sure that you just worry about staying the course and doing your job, and then you will eventually, hopefully mesh together as fast as you possibly can.
Some guys like to practice, some guys love to play games. Was there anyone that stood out to you when you watched tape that say, wow, that guy turns it on a different speed when it comes game time?
Not really. I mean, it was, the effort was really good. Not all 3 sides of the ball, the effort was good. These guys were energized and ready to play, and that was the main focus of last week, was to get, ourselves to the point to where energy good and excitement level was high. So we actually kind of had to calm them down a little bit. We won't want them too high too early, but the effort was good. And it's just, winning formula is hard to describe. And we just got to stay the course, get better, and then as a team, we just got to continue to play together.
Well, let's look forward to some good weather this Saturday and play all 4 quarters.
That's
and
right.
Best of luck against Norfolk State.
Thank you. Now.
Welcome, everybody. Tony Caridi along with WV Defensive Coordinator Jeff Casteel as West Virginia gets set for the Spartans of Norfolk State. This is a little bit of a different deal for you this week, isn't it? Is this the first time that you're going to go up against another team in which you taught the other defensive coordinator all your tricks?
Yeah, that's going to be it'll be fun. Mark is Sebastian is he started. In fact, I think he was on the first staff at Shepherd, when I first started coaching there. So he and I go back a long ways, a great guy, and he always comes up and works our camp. We had to kick him out of that here in the last year, but he's got a lot of families from Preston County, and I'm sure he's going to be excited to get a chance to coach here in Mountaineer Field too. Jeff,
I know that obviously you're watching the offense, not watching their defense, but schematically on their defense, he runs the same stuff you do?
I know there are 3-4. I don't know how much stack they use. I'm not quite sure of that, but I know they're a 3-4 team, and he's done a really good job down there, and they've been doing that since Coach Adrian was a Bethune-Cookman, and he's been with Coach Adrian for a good while. So they've always put up good numbers.
On to the other side here, your defense. First off, before we talk about Norfolk State's attack, when you watch the tape of your very young defensive unit, how did you grade them out? Was it what you expected? Was it better than you expected?
Well, I tell you what, we had really outstanding effort from the kids. That they ran to the football and we tackled okay. You know, would like to tackle a little bit better, but I think for a first game, that's one of the things that you're a little worried about. But I thought the kids' effort and the tackling was adequate, and hopefully to improve on that. But you know, I think by and large, we had some kids that played well, and we had some kids that didn't play real well. And but really, I think for the first time out with those guys, and that was it was a big crowd, really noisy, and there's a lot of emotion in the West Virginia Marshall game, and I thought the kids handled it pretty well. And so, you know, coming out of that, it's a good one to get past, you know, and so most of these guys have a game under their belt, and then we can move on and try to get better each week.
Yeah. As for this week's opponent, Norfolk State, I talked with their head coach, Pete Adrian. He said our offense that we run is very similar to what West Virginia is running right now. You agree with that?
Yeah, and they do a lot of different things. They'll run the football, and they're going to get the ball out on the perimeter. There's a lot of screens and play action pass and those type of things. And they have some kids that can go get the ball, and their quarterback's very accurate. I think he's a 65% completion guy, and the last couple games in the season last year, I think was his first year, and he was completing 85-90% of his balls towards the end of the year. So he's a good player, and going to be very accurate. So we'll have to hopefully in a short week be ready for him.
I'm sure you will be. Best of luck.
I appreciate it, Tony.